What's important to educators, to state education agency staff, to district and school administrators, to higher education institutions? At REL Midwest, our researchers work with our partners to ensure that the research we conduct is relevant and useful. But it isn't as easy as just asking, what's important to you? Through structured research agenda setting workshops, we discover which research questions matter most. We lead our partners through a process to identify priority topics and draft research questions that reflect their interests. For example, the Midwest Alliance to Improve Teacher Preparation, one of REL Midwest's research practice partnerships, determined 5 priority topic areas: teacher preparation programs, teacher shortages and surpluses, teacher retention, teacher recruitment, and teacher compensation. Then, participants developed research questions for each topic and voted to prioritize the questions that were most important to them. This resulted in a research agenda that drives the Alliance's work.
The Research Agenda Setting Workshop is the first step in our Research Alliance's work. It affords our researchers a real opportunity to understand the complex contexts that our partners work in, as well as hear directly from the partners about their research needs. It also creates a space for our partners to talk amongst themselves, to begin to break down barriers that exist either within a district or between the district and a state education agency, so they can start to communicate about a truly shared vision about the work. The research agenda setting process is different than the way that researchers typically think about doing work with a district, for example. If you think about that typical arrangement, a researcher will approach a district with a really interesting research question and set up an arrangement so that they can secure the data they need to answer those research questions that are of interest to them. The agenda setting workshop flips that on its head. It really starts with the partners asking the research questions and the researchers saying, well, let's figure out, do you have the data you need to answer that question that's important to you? And if you don't, let's think about ways that we could build instruments to collect the information that you're really seeking. And then we, as a collaborative partnership, will analyze those data together to find out the answers to your questions. Once our research agenda setting workshops are complete, we have a draft of a research agenda. And we really think of it as a living document that our partnership revisits at least on an annual basis. So as our projects are complete and we learn from them, we revisit what we had projected to do in the following year to say, is this really the right next step, or did we learn something and we need to do some course correction and revise our agenda accordingly?
When we identified who should be at our agenda setting workshop, we were really invested in having partners from a wide variety of entities, K-12, colleges and universities, educational organizations, and we wanted people who would be committed to the work and serve as ambassadors out in our educational community. Our research agenda setting workshop was excellent. We spent a lot of time gathering all of the questions people had about research and having great conversation about which ones we were all invested in and felt like they would give us the best results in our community. The REL Midwest agenda setting process is very different than working with other research partners. There wasn't a pre-agenda for when REL came to work with us. It really was about what we needed and using their tools and resources to give us the information to improve our policy and practice. We're really excited to use this research to inform both policy and practice in Michigan. We intend on being able to share it with our community partners. We intend on changing some of our rules and working with our legislators, all in the intent of really having an impact on K-12 education in our state.
If you're a researcher considering developing a collaborative research agenda, here are some things to consider. Make sure you have the right people at the table. For instance, have someone empowered to make decisions within the organization, someone with time to prioritize the partnership's work. You also want to involve someone with access to the data you'll need to do the work. Be aware of the type of research that can be funded. Funders are often interested in funding research on particular topics and/or research that uses specific methods. Find out about funders' interests in your field. Consider which funders' priorities best align with the partnership's needs. If funding constraints dictate a timeline, make sure your questions can be answered within that frame. Listen. It's important for researchers to spend most of their time hearing what people say. At REL Midwest's agenda setting workshops, we aim for our partners to do most of the talking and researchers to do most of the listening. Plan time to reflect. When a partnership member formulates a research question, the researchers should confirm an understanding of the question being posed. Partners can also share more about what they hope to learn by answering a particular research question. Do your homework before the workshop. Get to know your partners and their motivations through one-on-one phone calls. Identify a partnership member champion with authority to make final decisions. When partners disagree, it's important that someone have the power to determine the partnership's research agenda. REL Midwest adapted its research agenda setting workshop materials from REL Northeast and Islands resources. If you're a researcher looking to collaborate with partners more deeply and meaningfully, we strongly recommend these resources, which include an adaptable slide deck and facilitator and participant guides. For more information and advice about facilitating research agenda setting workshops, please reach out to Carrie Scholz. Good luck doing meaningful research that will make a difference.